As Americans, we often forget how important foreign help had been during America's struggle for independence. It seems like the most we get are just simple mentions of the French and some of Lafayette. Yet we never hear about the Dutch, Polish, or even Spanish help. It is forgotten how important this foreign aid from all these countries was. It is a terrible reality that the American Revolution is depicted as a war almost only between colonists and their occupiers. Today, we'll begin with Spain. More specifically, Bernardo de Galvez, a daring Spanish military commander of the 18th century. For his revolution was seen as inevitable in the 13 colonies, by 1776, Spain and France began to see an opportunity to regain some of their lost colonies and strike at their old adversary, Great Britain. Spain had begun colonizing the Americas in 1508, and soon one of the largest colonial empires in history sprawled from the coast of Chile to the Louisiana Territory. Most of it was put under the viceroyalty of New Spain, similar to New France. Both Louis XVI of France and Carlos III of Spain began rebuilding their fleets and armies to one day reclaim the territories they had lost in the 7 Years' War. Even during 1775, when the war had just begun, Spain sent men like Diego de Galvez who smuggled shiploads of muskets, ammunition, uniforms, gunpowder, and sleeping kits to the American colonists. Spain had also sent $500 million in today's dollars just to fund France and other smuggling operations straight from Madrid. Galvez had already been battle-hardened before the war. Because of his family status, he enrolled in the Academy de Avila, a well-known Spanish military academy. Just at the age of 16, he participated in the 1762 invasion of Portugal, in which he fought so bravely he had been promoted to lieutenant. After the war, Galvez became the governor of Louisiana in New Spain. And eventually, Galvez campaigned against the Apache tribe in the region after Mexican settlements had been raided by members of the tribe. His personal courage was shown heavily in this campaign as he had been wounded several times. He then sailed off to campaign in Algeria for the Spanish crown, again being wounded again. Soon enough, he returned to the Spanish colonies. Meanwhile, in 1775, long-lasting tensions and hostility towards British rule in the 13 colonies were never more evident, as militia and British regulars opened fire on each other, sparking the revolution. At first, it seemed like the colonists wouldn't be crushed, but after the Battle of Bunker Hill, it was clear the colonists would not be giving up anytime soon. Meanwhile, in Europe, Britain's rivals watched closely as the Americans made some headway against Britain. Both France and Spain were eager to avenge their losses in the 7 Years' War. Galvez was ordered to send as much supplies and munitions to the Americans as needed, making incredibly daring raids and smuggling operations over the Spanish-Louisiana border. By June 21, 1779, both Britain and Spain would be at war with Britain. France had already joined the fight by this time. Soon enough, what was a war against the Americans rapidly turned into a war mostly against Spain and France, with some fighting in the Americas. The two countries overstretched Britain, attacking in India, the Caribbean, sending troops directly to the United States, and attacking the British strongholds in Gibraltar. The siege of Gibraltar became the largest fight of the American Revolution, and it didn't even take place in the United States. The strategy of stretching the enemy thin, used by Britain in the 7 Years' War, was ironically being used to defeat them instead. By this time, Galvez was made commander of all Spanish operations and troops in North America. His army was very diverse, consisting of Spanish, Louisiana citizens, Caribbeans, natives, and others. Galvez soon defeated the overstretched British at Manhack, Baton Rouge, and Natchez. In these operations, his army captured 550 enemy soldiers and 2 warships. He then besieged Mobile seaport, capturing it within a day. All these victories were won despite a hurricane sinking his supply ships, making these victories anything short of incredible. Galvez's storm was not over yet. The next target was Pensacola. Here Galvez would achieve his most famous victory and masterpiece. Admiral José Cabot was too cautious, according to Galvez. The admiral did not press any real assault, so Galvez took matters into his own hands. With sword in hand, he ordered a 15-gun salute to begin the bombardment of Pensacola. The British held out for 2 months. After numerous attacks from the Spanish, some of the most famous being made by Spanish grenadiers and marines. This battle, despite its importance, is rarely mentioned in American histories and schools. It is without a doubt that Washington's army couldn't have achieved total victory without the help from Spain and France in the south. Without men like Galvez, America may as well have lost the revolution. It is unfair that men like Galvez are almost never mentioned in favor of American exclusive rhetoric. However, today he is not forgotten.